Hi everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you're notified of any time we have new content on. We've got loads of guests, loads of great videos coming up, including today's guest, who I'm very excited to have. You would recognise him. You probably recognise his voice rather than his face sometimes because he does all the Stop Hammer Time podcasts with Phil Williams. It's Mr. Jim Grant. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Hi, Russ. Good evening. How are you?
Very well, very well. Hear you loud and clear. Appreciate the attire as well.
Yeah, it's my retro shirt. Yeah.
It's very good. Basically, all we do is talk about West Ham, as you can imagine, like you do with podcasts anyway. But about memories and obviously we're interviewing lots of different people all over the world, and then we'll move on to talk about your Hammers 11, which I'm very much looking forward to because believe it's probably the most lyrical one we've had. So looking forward to this. In terms of you, Jim, obviously being a West Ham fan for many years, what would you say was your earliest West Ham memory?
My earliest West Ham memory is really an England memory. It's England winning the World Cup in '66. I know I watched as a little more than a toddler the '64 Cup final on telly, and I know I watched the '65 Cup Winners' Cup, but I have no memory of them at all.
Yeah.
But I do remember just about as a sort of 6-year-old kid. Winning at Wembley, wow. And my family were all West Ham, so it was really kind of it was an event in our house.
Yeah. And obviously, from the early age, you were sort of ingrained into claret and blue. No space to deviate.
Yeah. Although my dad was not a great football fan, he was a boxer and a boxing fan, and it was my granddad and my great uncle who were both at Wembley in '23.
Wow.
And you brought me up. I was brought up on stories of the White Horse Cup final and Jimmy Ruffle, and these are just names, but they got me into it. And then, as it also happened, I like the colours. The colours are really nice. They appeal to the Easties in me. It's a very nice combo.
and then so obviously from sort of the mid '60s onwards, that's a long fan career, so to speak.
Yeah.
There must be, and obviously you do obviously all the stuff with the Stop Hammer Time. Any sort of fond memory? You've probably got millions, but any things that stick in your mind as sort of fond memories that you'd like to share? Prosperity.
Well, the excitement of my first ever game, which was an away game, and my granddad took me, and that was at Crystal Palace, we lived in Bromley. My family were all from the East End, but moved south of the river before the war, and actually because of my dad's health at the time. And I nagged to get taken to a game. My granddad was not a particularly well man, but he was keen to go as well. So we went to see West Ham when they were at Crystal Palace, and I think must have been 70 or 71 around there.
Yeah.
And we won 3-0. I think it was Addy Coker's. Might have been his debut. He scored, and I think Billy Bonds scored, and maybe Clyde Best. Clyde Best was my early idol, actually.
Yeah,
I just adored Clyde Best.
Yeah, well, I suppose he was such a domineering sort of unit of a man. It was like a real strong man, wasn't he?
He was, but he also exuded a kind of joy in the game, kind of love of the game.
Yeah.
And that's a bit important. Like those kind of West Indian cricketers, when you saw them, they kind of that spirit of sport flowing through them.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean it's love. I mean, we had did an interview and Clive Best came up and and just obviously not just because you saw him as sort of the man and the model, in terms of the big guy and the happy chap, but obviously it's what he symbolised to after, for a lot of people, a lot of us in the black community and stuff still talk about Clive Best. And it's really, and I've never around, but obviously you pick up all the stories and someone which I don't think is it has enough exposure about him. Do you know what I mean in terms of
Yes,
what he brings to everything now? But no, lovely. And what a great 3-0 away. That's it. Done,
yeah. How little did I realise just what misery I was. I kind of did actually. I suppose the '60s was sort of glory years for West Ham, really, in relative terms. And it seems amazing that they didn't really seriously challenge for the league in that time.
Yeah.
But the '70s just felt like, as growing up, felt like a perennial battle against relegation every year. Optimism dashed by muddy pitches and coming down with the Christmas decoration. I mean, that cup final year, '75. You know, I think we were near the top of the table at Christmas, and then I don't think we had a great cup run, but then just barely won a game.
Yeah. I always remember my granddad was always spoke of West Ham as obviously the Christmas decorations, and I probably got into my first game was like sort of about 92, 93, so a few years after Egypt, and I never really understood it, but I think a lot of it, as you said, was that sort of '70s, '80s period where it seemed to be very much so the Christmas decorations thing. But yeah, no. Anyway, so as I said, what we're doing was obviously talking about memories, but also we're talking about the players, which, you know, your Hammers 11. So, you know, there's a couple of one rule we like to keep is you have to be alive to have seen them play. So obviously, lucky for you, you've got quite an extensive.
I've got a good span. Yeah,
good span.
Not a bad span. Yeah.
And it's your 11. You can talk
right, my 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my 11. I've gone for a concept.
Love it.
Now, not to be outdone by Phil, my colleague on the podcast, he went for a European Union concept.
He did.
And I thought, and I've been thinking about it. You know, a lot of people will go for the great players, and I know full well that my team is not the greatest West Ham team that you could put out. And of course, you know, I could have picked Brooking and Bonds and Moore and Frank Lampard, senior, and Phil Parks, and you know. But I thought the essence of supporting West Ham is about eternal optimism in the face of repeated disappointment, and it's perennial kind of it's failure. We even sing a song about failure. So I thought, okay, so what would most capture? I want to have a team of people that I really love. I really loved all of these guys, but I wanted a team that sort of summed up that idea of seeking after glory but failing. And my eye chanced to the list of Hammers of the Year, and every single one of my players was runner-up and never the winner of Hammer of the Year. Now that's the niche concept.
Love it.
But I also love them as well. So anyway,
brilliant. Let's start off between the sticks then, Jim. Let's start
between the sticks. So I had some choices. I had Mervyn Day, who was twice runner-up but never won it. But I went for a more recent Hammer who was also twice runner-up. And I've gone for Adrian. I liked him as a keeper always. I thought he was by and large a not let you down keeper. And the clincher for me, I love characters. You love those stories. The gloves off penalty was in recent times, one of those lovely moments. And I just adored him for that. And I just, you know, he had a rapport with the fans. You know, when we were in the Bobby Moore Lower, you know, that sort of sense that he was connecting with the fans and he got what the club was about. You know, loved him.
Good shout. And it's one of those frustrating things, isn't it, when you let a player go and then you need him. So it's like, obviously, Fabianski was Fabianski. Okay, well, we've got a good idea. We're going to have got these two sort of Roberto and David Martin. Okay, no problem. Fabianski won't get him. Sorry. So I agree with Adrian. It's a good shout. And as you said, it's twice runner up. Poor old Adrian. Okay.
I'm in a 4-4-2. So
lovely. Thank you.
I've noticed some people have been playing fast and loose with your rules, Russ.
Well, I am. Yeah, I know. And as I said, I mean, I've had to quickly adapt to finding out what an inside half is.
Oh well, yes. Oh, well, that's
and the left forward. I mean, it's like I don't know these things. Right. Okay. Thanks for the 4-4-2. Let's go left back then, Jim.
Right. Good. Okay. So left back is a man I have met. He did a guest slot for a live podcast we did, and he's not. He did play at left back, but he wasn't a recognised left back. He probably played more in midfield. He was a utility man. It's George Paris.
Yep.
Who was runner-up in the Ham of the Year in 1991, and a loyal club servant, totally dedicated, committed footballer. He's the kind of footballer who would just get the crowd up with the tackle, and he had his own song. I can't remember we were playing on like a cup tie against someone. It might have been against Everton. I can't remember. And he just clattered someone in the first minute, and that you just knew from that point the team were up for it. And no mean footballer either. Decent with both feet, scored a few useful and important goals. If you don't mind, I've got a little poem for him.
Please go ahead, Jim.
That's all right. Is that all right? Because I did this poem for this live podcast, and it was around about the time that when we did the podcast that there was a lot of argument about, it was Allardyce years, a lot of argument about the West Ham way.
Yeah.
And it's about one of my favourite ever away trips, which was to Stamford Bridge in 1986, and his involvement in the second goal. Dev scored a fantastic first, and George charged down. He was playing left back that day. He charged down the wing. So this is George Paris, Stamford Bridge, 1986. My mind flicks back to 86 and picks, for some strange reason, from that treasure-laden season, a remembered gem that sees a mud-speared Paris in his pomp magnificently romp, maraud past Chelsea boots that stomp in vain down our left wing. And in my heart I sing, I want to bring that moment back, and in my mind's eye track defence switch to attack like that. I see Dickens glide, and with the outside of his foot, I watch him put the ball right into Georgie's stride. Georgie glances up and waits a pass, though already falling on his arse, perfectly for Tony Cotte's slide. That made it 2. Chelsea had the 4-0 blues that day. Remember it when numbskull pundits say there's never been a West Ham way.
Lovely. That's really, thanks, Stuart. It's lovely. As I said, probably the first poem we've had on the channel.
Oh right. Well, we started kind of poetry corner on the podcast because I thought I had to Phil does all these funny set pieces on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I just felt I've got to contribute something. So yeah. I quite like messing about with words. So it came from that really.
Exactly. And sort of make the tone a bit higher. A bit more highbrow.
Well, a lot of the poems are quite just angry rants about Reading, who I hate.
Oh, brilliant! Right, so put Georgie P. You can go left back. We'll go right back. We'll go the other side. Who's got right back?
Go the other side. Well, now this is a bit of a shocker. Some people will be surprised, I think, at this. But my right back is probably would be my right back in my greatest ever team, and that's Ray Stewart.
Oh, never knew that.
Runner-up in 1980, the cup-winning year. Really?
Wow.
Yeah, never won it. I mean, he had some competition, let's be fair. So in Brooklyn in his pomp, and Devonshire won it, and Bonds, so Phil Park. So, it was a good team, that.
Yeah. To come second in that team wasn't too bad, I suppose.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing, yeah.
A lovely guy.
So I've got some kind of tough tackling energy and also some rampaging down the flanks.
Yeah, no, I like it. And obviously penalty taker as well. So
and penalty taker, no question.
Indeed. Although you wouldn't be able to understand what he says, but apart from that. Bless him. Right, okay, so put Tonker on the right. Centre backs. Let's go for your first centre back then, Jim.
Right. Okay, so my first centre back is, and I've put him in, he had a great season for us. Left under a bit of a cloud, but I put him in also because he managed the team and gave us a great season. It's Slaven Bilic.
Yep.
He was runner-up Hammer of the Year 97.
97.
And, I look back thinking of great away trips, that sunny day at Arsenal when we saw Payet for the first time, and tactically, geniusly, Reece Oxford sat in front of the back foot, snuffed out Ozil, and Kouyaté scored, and it was just a fantastic day, and what a season that was. Really, you look back at the football in that season, and it was special. Really.
Yeah, right manager, right time, right players, and just all fitted. And Slav, it was a great centre back for us, I think, when he
was
played.
A good player. Yeah. It was really. Yeah.
Okay, who's going to partner Slav then in?
Right. Well, I was torn between two. I was torn between James Tomkins, and in the end, I didn't go for Tomkins. I went for a man again who I just loved, and I feel didn't fulfil his potential at West Ham, even though he did have a good career, because he was sort of hampered by injury, and that's Ian Pearce.
Yeah,
my other half. Good player, I thought.
Yeah, I liked him.
Centre half. He had that fantastic performance against Leeds where Harry, for some reason, stuck him up. It would have been a down to the bare bones thing.
Yeah.
He stuck him up wing back, didn't he? And he just was imperious that night against Leeds.
And also if Piercy, if I remember, he would be a auxiliary forward if we were trying to pump it up last 10 minutes, he'd go up front. And I love that. I love big players that just do. Oh no, I'll go up front. Just lump it up to me.
And a boyhood West Ham fan, and again another player who connected with the fans. Really, I mean, I think so far that's another feature of my team. I mean that the winners of the Hammers of the Year are in some senses obvious.
Yeah,
the people who are runners up are people who've probably got there because as much of their kind of commitment to the cause and their passion and their connection to the fans as simple sort of footballing ability. And so I'm very happy with my team.
No, exactly. And I agree totally what you mean. I think, to be voted Hammer and runners up, as you said, there's this, I can see you're right, the runner up tended to be not the skillful one, so to speak, but still he's been voted second out of a whole squad by the fans. So I agree with that. Okay, brilliant. Nice start. Let's go left wing then, Jim.
Right, so left wing. He's playing on the left, although he might be more comfortable on the right. Although he did play on the left there, and also for England in the World Cup, and that's Trevor Sinclair.
Yep.
Pretty happy with him. Runner-up in 2000. Supplier of the pass that Di Canio smashed into the net against Wimbledon, and that kind of that there you are. There you have the
exactly.
But he was terrific. I mean, came in, scored twice on his debut against Everton, scored some great goals. Really top footballer, I thought.
Yeah, and very versatile as well. I think he started up front, played him on the left. So he played left for England, played right. I think he played right back or right wing back. It's like it just
sometimes right wing back. Yeah,
and I love players like that. And as you said, he was one of those. And I've said it before actually on the channel. There seems to be an overcomplication of football now. It's like you'd always have a left winger on the right now and a right winger on the left, and it's like just they can cut in and score. Where someone like Trev, well, I know we put on the left, but traditionally a right winger, he would just, beat the left back and cross it in. And as long as you got someone there to nod it in, you're all right there. But Tricky Trev's in. Okay, let's go to and I tell a story of my granddad. Oh, God bless him, rest his soul. But his eyesight was going, and he loved Trevor Sinclair. So anytime anything good was done by a black West Ham player, it was Trevor Sinclair. Oh, bloody best player on the pitch, Sinclair is. Yeah, granddad. Yeah. It was left back, whatever. Anyway, bless him. Okay, put Trevor on the left. Who should we have on the right then, Jim?
I should just mention before we move on to the right that there was an embarrassment of riches on the left. So
okay, go for it.
I could have had Graham Padden. I could have had Stuart Slater. Well, Stuart Slater on either side, and I could have had Kevin Keane, and I could have put Lanzini there. So, plenty of attacking wide skill. Anyway, on the right, it is, and again, some people might be surprised about this, it's Mark Ward. Wardy.
Really?
Yeah, runner-up in 87.
Wow. Again, it was a period where he had some competition. So that 85. Yeah. Nice guy. And as you said, again, he's one of those, I call them, adoptive Cockneys, so to speak, Wardy, it seems. He just got it, and he's like still very much, you see his interaction on Twitter and Facebook, still very much in the West Ham community world, and talks very openly to people. Great shout, Wardy. Okay.
Yeah.
And Wardy and Ray Stewart, you don't want to mess yourself if you was a left wing or a left back, you ain't getting much change there, I tell you.
No.
All right, let's go to centre mid then. Jim, who have we got on your centre mid?
Centre mid, right. Well, I've got I think, a good combination. I could have had, there was kind of less in terms of depth for central midfield.
Sure.
I'd love to have had Bishop, but he never even came runner-up. How about that?
Really? Wow.
Even a runner-up. No, that's exextraordinary, it seems to me.
Incredible.
I'd love to have him. I think it was one of the best passes of the football I've seen at the club, Bishop. However, I've got a not bad passer in place, and I've got Michael Carrick.
Oh.
Decent, deep lying, knock it about, spread it around. I think he's
very much, I think, underestimated as a player, not just at West Ham, but I think everywhere. Very much so.
Absolutely. Yeah, unspectacular, but rarely gave the ball away. Good vision, head-up player, good tradition, in the West Ham tradition, really, of midfielders looking and passing well.
And I think I think he almost came at the wrong time. Do you know what I mean? Because I think we had a sort of an abundance of mid. Obviously, we had Frank and we had Joe, and he almost got lost in the shuffle, I think. And I think if he was 2 years later, 5 years earlier, whatever, you would put him in the same bracket as Frank Lampard, in terms of impact.
Yeah, and respect for staying, the season after we went down. It was a shame that it all ended so awfully in that day against Crystal Palace.
I still can't hear that. Every time I hear, I never, when I used to DJ at a party and someone used to request Glad All Over, I would never play it because it just reminds me, it's like flashbacks. It's like, sort of post-traumatic stress syndrome at Cardiff. Yeah, can't stand that song. Right, okay, we'll put Carrick in. Who's going to partner Michael then?
Who's going to mind it? Well, it's going to be all energy Steve Lomas.
Oh, Lomas.
He'll get about the pitch, win the ball, break things up. Good player. Again, very, very versatile.
Yeah.
A better footballer than people gave him credit for,
Definitely.
I think. Came in towards the end of the same season. It was slightly overshadowed by the fact we'd signed Hartson and Kitson in that. It was in 97 and 8, I think.
Yeah.
But came in and was a great servant for the club, I thought. And a really wholehearted, again, another passionate, heart on his sleeve player who loved the fans and the fans loved him.
Yeah, it's one of those players, and you've got a lot of them in here who wouldn't be, if the Sun was doing their match report, he wouldn't get the star man. He got runner up. It's very true. He got runner ups, but he would be a 7, 8. It'd be a 7 out of 10, 8 out solid. And as you said, even if things weren't going well, when you have players like that who try, and Stevie Lomas did, the fans never got on his back. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's all West Ham fans want, really, isn't it? That sort of useless run to the corner when the ball's going out, but you still run and they love all that. Right, that's a nice midfield.
I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, I remember, Di Canio.
I think you just cut out there, Jim. Sorry. I think you just cut out, Jim. Sorry about that.
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Don't worry about it. There we go. Carry on. So, yes, you were saying about Steve and Di Canio.
So very happy with the midfield.
Yes.
Somewhere, just saying how much he respected Lomas's professionalism and commitment and passion.
Definitely. Brilliant. Okay, love that. Let's go strikers then, Jim. Who have we got?
Right. Well, I'm going to save my best to last, but I'm pretty pleased with my. Now, again, I had one or two choices. Could have gone. I mean, I ruled out Defoe on the basis of, and I just don't like him very much. I remember. I think there were various games at the start of that season where Carrick stayed on. Defoe was obviously angling for the move and just giving up. And I was at the game at Walsall, I think it is, where he just kind of got himself sent off deliberately. Didn't like it.
He doesn't make it.
I could have had Marlon Harewood.
Yeah.
He was an out-and-out goal scorer. Probably would have been. Should probably get in ahead of the man I have picked from the same era. But I just love this guy, the guy I picked. Again, passion, scored some great goals, had some great moments, and that's Bobby Zamora.
Oh, Z-Man, yeah.
I always thought a slightly underrated player. A lot of substitute appearances, but a good goals to game ratio in terms of starts.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the season we went up, he was top goal scorer for the Premier League for I think it was like a month or 6 weeks, and literally everything. I think he scored a goal against Liverpool. He came off his bum, and it was just a knack for and I was like, this is brilliant. Like, yeah, the Z-Man, and when someone has their own song, that always
absolutely.
gives them.
I love getting behind him, and he scored some fantastic goals and some significant goals, didn't he? Yes. So scored in the last win at Highbury. Scored the winner in the first win at Emirates, scored the playoff final winner, scored those playoff semi-final winning goals at Ipswich, and that cushioned volley from the cross from Harewood.
Yes,
it's one of the greatest West Ham goals. It is the Di Canio one's spectacular.
Yeah,
but to cushion a volley like that that's come from deep from the right wing, and put it past just at the right height past the keeper was a fantastic finish. And then he got a worldie up at Birmingham. I don't know if you remember that.
He did
a kind of Archie Gemmill in the '78 World Cup. It's like dribbled through everyone and then nutmegged the keeper. Fantastic goal. If that had been scored by Giggs or someone, people would never have stopped talking about it.
Yeah,
and yet it kind of buried somewhere in the Sky vaults.
Yeah, or somewhere on Robert Banks's on his YouTube channel, it doesn't get taken down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm loving those.
That's brilliant. Right, okay, put Z-Man up. Who's going to partner the Z-Man?
Right. Well, I tell you, it's Frankie Mac. Frank McAvenny. 86 runner-up.
Wow.
What a player to have. And again, another guy we've had on the podcast, I've met, so that was an honour. So again, passion, got the fans, proper footballer, pace, skill, good in the air, great. Came back. I think it's very interesting when players come back and still do well. I mean, the leg break was such a shame, wasn't it? Such another tragedy, really.
Yeah, and again, another adopted Cockney. You know what I mean? He's like still, if he walked into any West Ham, any East End pub or whatever, he wouldn't be out of place. You know what I mean? He's just like, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's what you get throughout the whole of this team is, West Ham boys. They would fight for the shirt.
That's what I think. That's what I feel. Yeah, the spirit of the club is in the modern age, anyways, in that team for me. And they predominantly come from a period when I've been watching more. So yeah, I think that'd give most teams a decent game actually. I think
Yeah, they wouldn't give up. That's for sure. And yes, you got Trevor's pace, Trevor. Because I mean, Maka had a great leap on him for a relatively, wasn't a
he was
massive
surprisingly
striker.
good.
Yeah,
he was surprisingly good. Yeah,
and I think that's a nice balance.
So I've got a little poem for them.
Lovely.
It'll be released. It's not all of them. It'll be released. But it's just a little bit. It's just a little, summing up in a poem, shall we say?
Lovely, nice way to say that. Thank you, Jim.
It seems unfair that for all his flair, his football do and dare, his debut pair, Sinclair, our second greatest Trevor, was never Hammer of the Year. And it seems bonkers, Tonka, our trusty Ray, so brilliant on his day, could play 400 games, put 80 pens away, and win the cup down Wembley way. Oh, that's a lot. But Stuart never got the pot. You what? For Hammer of the Year. And what's more, Zamora, our great escape, top scorer, 11 to Tevez 7, with winners at the Emirates and the Millennium, a worldie at the Brum, dumped Campbell on his bum, but never won the Hammer of the Year. It seems ironic, or at least flawed, we had a Ward, a pocket battleship with a rocket shot, who didn't pocket this award. And it seems mean that Kevin Keane, our little bow-leg perm teen, in 1990 scored 13, and so often seen to pass and shoot with the outside of his teeny boot, never won the Hammer of the Year. And if that seems 5 too many, I ought to mention McAvenny. Keane, of course, got cut from the final. Didn't get cut from the final. I put Sinclair instead of Keane in the end. I loved Kevin Keane.
He was brilliant, and obviously caretaker manager as well. So he was a lovely guy. Jim, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I can tell it's been lovely, and obviously the poems, and it's fantastic, and I'm sure everyone will love that. And as you said, you had to try and up one from what Whelan's did as well, and I think you have. It'll be back on.
I'm sure my team they'd kick a few of them off the park anyway.
Exactly. Oh, definitely so. Especially bloody Vladimir Labant at left back. I'm not being funny. Mark will take him all day.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much, and obviously thank you to everyone for listening and watching. You know what to do. Obviously, share, subscribe. Obviously, download the Stop Hammer Time podcast. Every week, great. It sort of keeps me going. I would say on my commute, but I don't commute at the moment. But apart from that, when I'm hopefully get back to the commuting, I listen to every day, every week. Jim, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everyone for watching, and obviously take care and stay safe, everybody. Bye bye.